Welcome back. Now that we've seen a few of the differences in cabinetry and in countertops, we're going to answer the almighty question, how much is this going to cost? Standing by for a budget analysis is Ed Gleason.
So Ed, when you're figuring a budget for your kitchen, what items do you need to consider?
Well, you know, up here we've got a typical kitchen, and typical meaning, 35, 40 feet of cabinets. And what you've got to consider there, you see these ads, and these ads say, typical 10 by 10 kitchen, for $2,000, $3,500. The problem with that is that's not a typical kitchen. A typical kitchen is 35, 40 feet of cabinetry, and in those ads they're talking about 20 feet, so you're not even looking at a real kitchen. Let's look at a real kitchen and the things we should consider for a budget. Up here we've got a typical kitchen. Okay, a typical kitchen is going to run between 35, 40, 45 linear feet of cabinets. Okay, and in your base budget, the first things you want to look at is cabinetry, the accessories that go with those, and the countertops. So if we look up here and you see cabinets, and we said 45 linear feet. Okay, now that can be anywhere from $130 to $230 a linear foot. So if you're looking at this budget here, you're going to spend somewhere between $7,000 on the low end, upwards of $10,000 on the high end for the cabinets. All right, and then you talk about the accessories. When you design a new kitchen, there's a lot of things you want to add to it because those accessories are what makes it your kitchen. The things like the extra big pot drawers, the better slides, the inserts. So those kinds of things in a typical kitchen, 45 linear feet, you're going to add $1,000 to $2,000 of accessories. The crown molding, all those kinds of things. All right, and then there's countertops. In this particular kitchen, we've got about 50 square feet of countertops, and that's how we look at countertops. And again, on the low end, you're looking at things like Formica. On the high end, granite and quartz. So there's a couple different materials out there we can look at. Okay, on the low end, you're probably around $1,500 for the Formica countertop. On the high end, you could be upwards of $4,000. So now you see, here's some basic things that go into a budget. Those are the basic items, the building blocks. But most people, when they remodel a kitchen, they don't want to just replace the cabinets. They just don't want new countertops. They'll want to raise ceilings, they'll want new flooring, they'll want to rearrange some things, possibly add some linear footage, make it better utilized for what they're going to do in that kitchen, how they're going to use it. Do you cook with a microwave or a cooktop, all those kinds of things. So let's look at the other things that go into a budget. First of all, when you do replace cabinets, you have to tear them out. Okay, if you're taking out 45 linear feet, you're going to probably run somewhere around $1,000 just to remove the cabinetry and do all the prep work and patchwork, okay? And that's about the same no matter what, because what you're removing is the same, okay? Now, on the installation side, you can probably have a little variation there based on how many accessories, how much additional linear footage. Okay, so let's look at installation. Let's say that's $1,000 to $1,500, okay? And that's for putting all those things in, the cabinets, the countertops, the accessories, the crown molding, etc. But let's not stop there. What about electric? If you upgrade your electric, if you add any new types of appliances, can lighting, in-cabinet lighting, all those kinds of things are in the electric budget, all right? And you want to make sure you've considered these other things, otherwise you're not going to have a true picture of the budget. So in electric, you can have $1,000 to $2,000 very easily if we're doing all those things. Okay, plumbing. I need to disconnect and reconnect the dishwasher, the refrigerator, the sink, the garbage disposal, all those things have to be done. A lot of cabinet companies won't even touch that stuff because they're not comfortable with it or they're not licensed to do that. But it still has to be done. You're going to have to pay someone to do it. Okay, on the plumbing, you're going to spend between $500 and $1,000 on average when you're disconnecting and reconnecting, when you're moving things around. What happens if you want to move a sink? You have to trench or move the plumbing. So that's all part of it. Flooring, very important part. A lot of people, when they pull up the old cabinets, their flooring's all been installed around the cabinets. What we like to do is put in new flooring and do it through the whole floor. Let's say your typical kitchen is about 200 square feet. Well, you're going to spend between $1,500 and $3,000, depending on the material you use, on that flooring for 150 to 200 square feet. So these are all items that get into that budget, and you want to make sure you consider these things. Let's talk about drywall, texture, paint. What if we want to raise the ceiling, move a wall, eliminate a wall? We've got to do all those things to make it realistic and make sure that you've got the kitchen you want. So drywall and texture and paint, you know, you could be $1,500 to $2,500. So now you're starting to get a feel for what the budget entails. Now let's not forget appliances. That's a big budget item. Appliances, refrigerator, new cooktop, double oven, microwave, dishwasher, all those things. Even the garbage disposal, you know, that's a good time to put up in a new garbage disposal. So let's talk about those appliances. On the base end, you know, for nice appliances, but not top of the line, you're probably going to spend $5,000. But many clients, they go to the sub-zeros and those kinds of things, they can spend upwards close to $10,000. So you see all these different items. Okay, now again, in the base remodeling, if you look at just cabinetry, let's talk about that for a minute. You've got $7,000 to $10,000. As we go down the line, those other things will be pretty consistent. But I want to get back to the fact that what you want is the quality and the foundation of why you're doing this in the first place. So for a delta of $3,000, you can get your baseline low-end cabinetry, or you can get, you know, the quality cabinets based on, you know, better input in it, better materials. So for $3,000 difference, that's what you're really investing in, is that foundation. When we get down to the bottom here though, you're looking at $21,000 to about $37,000. Now on average between those two, if you look at the, again, if you go on the higher end side, somewhere down the middle is where most people end up, because they'll take some of the better quality at the base end, but as we move down the line, they'll say, okay, let's spend $7,000 on appliances, maybe we'll spend, you know, $2,000 on the drywall and that kind of stuff. So in the mid-range, you're going to be between $25,000 to $30,000. Okay, and that's for a typical kitchen remodel, complete remodel. That means you're really doing all the things, not just replacing the cabinets. Okay, and that's what you really want to consider when you look at a budget. So again, if we just come right across here, you can see that the delta, or the difference between these, is not that great. You really want to invest in your kitchen. Make sure it's something that not only you will enjoy, but the next person when you go to sell your home will enjoy. The resale of the home is key in this as well. It's an investment versus an expense. So the delta here is very small. Let's make sure you're getting the better foundation and then add all the other pieces as we go along.